Hitler attacked the Soviet Union in June 1941 with almost 4 million Axis troops, a war for conquest and a source of food and war resources, with the continued extermination of Jews and turning Slavs into slaves. The Wehrmacht was confident of a quick victory. The Soviet Union was expected to be conquered and to be the answer to Germany's food shortages. Russia was expected to be defeated in 2 to 3 months. The gigantic mechanized war machine with air superiority was expected to move quickly and decisively. Ukraine was captured, but not completely until late November. Nazi invasion meant killing, torture, and starvation happened, but not to the long-term advantage of Germany. Jews were rounded up and usually killed. The hunger plan was to systematically feed the Wehrmacht and Germany while enslaving the population and expecting millions to slowly starve. The result was to increase partisans, and town people fled to remote rural areas. Nazi troops ignored the long-term hunger plan for immediate terror. Three forces worked against the German conquest: Russia's vast size, poor infrastructure, and extreme weather. Efficient logistics was essential in an operation such as this and proved inadequate. Despite continued victories and conquest of rich territory, Stalin absorbed these attacks. The Red Army slowed down the German advances and turned it into a war of attrition. Some 2 million Wehrmacht forces reached the outskirts of Moscow in October 1941. Given muddy roads, winter weather, and logistic logjams, reinforcements, needed food, equipment, and other supplies were slow or not forthcoming. As the Nazi attacks weakened, Stalin transferred new forces to defend the city. Increased Soviet military manufacturing meant improved capabilities the longer the fighting. Still, Soviet losses in killed, wounded, or captured were gigantic. The first problem was logistics, with shortages of fuel for tanks, air attacks, and food. As winter worsened, the Germans were not prepared with inadequate clothing. As tanks froze, they often could not start. The Soviets solved this problem by building fires under the tank at night. Some did explode, but the remaining were functional. That meant the ability to counterattack. The winter of 1941 and 2 was the coldest of the 20th century, with temperatures dropping toward minus 50 degrees Fahrenheit. Germans had neither the clothing nor equipment. That was the end of the Moscow offensive. Stalin moved Siberian soldiers to Moscow. Hitler ordered defensive positions, not a withdrawal. The Red Army counterattacked, which turned German forces west as they retreated. The siege of Leningrad started in September 1941 and continued until January 1944. It was a military blockade, but the city was never captured. The city was surrounded by German and Finnish forces with the plan to starve Leningrad, then eradicate it. Once again, food was a primary weapon. Limited supplies did get through, but 1.5 million people died. Still, it was not the deadliest battle. The Battle of Stalingrad started in July 1942. The city is in southern Russia, the largest industrial center in the Soviet Union. The Nazi plan was a quick victory, then capture the oil fields of the Caucasus. This proved to be the largest and costliest urban battle in history, with house-to-house fighting. There were about 3 million casualties. Soviets made progress during their winter campaign. German General Paulus was ordered to stand his ground, which ultimately resulted in his surrender in February 1943. Soviet forces then turned offensive. It's back to the 1930s. Japan had limited resources, inefficient farming, too many people, and aspirations of greatness as a maritime empire. The plan was to attack Mongolia and China, move 1 million Japanese farmers to the mainland, then continue the conquest of much of Asia. The story beginning next time on Food History and Mystery.